back to Speaking with Confidence, a podcast that helps you build the soft skills that lead to real results. Communication, storytelling, public speaking, and showing up with confidence in every conversation that counts. I'm Tim Newman, a recovering college professor turned communication coach, and I'm thrilled to guide you on a journey to becoming a powerful communicator. Today's guest is Mike Wysocki. After 30-plus years in tech sales, Wysocki published the award-winning and best-selling book on career readiness, Careers by the People. And he talks with students about workforce preparation as he was not prepared after schooling. Mike, welcome to the show. And let me tell you something. That book that you wrote is phenomenal. And I know we're going to get into it as we talk today, but welcome to the show.
Tim, thank you for the opportunity to get a chance to speak to your audience. And the other thing too is thank you for the kind words about the book and my history and all like that. I'm just trying, like yourself, do good for the world and help the next generation improve and get the tools that we didn't have when we were younger. So anything I can help out with, and of course, whether having to talk my book, my speaking engagements, and my past as well, to make sure the next generation has a better shot than I did. So
yeah, we got a lot to talk about, and I'm excited to really get into it. But before we do, you live in Maui, and I'm sure living in Maui doesn't suck. As living over there, has that had any shift in your lifestyle or influence your perspective on work, leadership, or communication?
Oh God, yeah. Wow. Awesome question, Tim. That's a good one. Nobody's ever asked me that one. So it actually has, and here's the reasoning why. And I grew up in the Boston area, and so from there is, the Northeast corridor, go crazy,
Right.
I moved to Los Angeles, the Southern California, go crazy. And I need to calm down and relax. And so I moved over to Maui, South Maui, actually, which is, in my view, Mecca of America, the best place to live in America. And it keeps me focused big time. And here's what some of the reasons is because I really don't worry about things like weather, because I know that on the weekends I can go swimming, which clears your head.
Right.
And so it can keep me focused on, other than my health and my dog, this whole career readiness resolution and trying to help out the young people with that. So I'm thoroughly focused. And so it does help out a great deal because it's such a relaxing environment. Yeah. So you either get a lot of children over here, a lot of retirees, not too many people in the middle. So it's I don't know what I did, but I ended up in the greatest place in America, in my view. And so I'm happy. I mean, you live in one of the top places as well, too.
Yeah.
So you get a good argument. You've got a good debate and argument as well, So
I try and get my kids down here, and they're not having it for whatever reason, and it's really hard to explain sometimes. When you come on the island, and I've been to Hawaii, when you go to places like that, the feeling is very different. So like when I come on the island here, doesn't matter how long I've been off the island, even if I just go across to do some things, when you come across that bridge, it almost feels like there's a weight lifted off of you, and it's just calm and it's peaceful. Even when I'm working during the day, I don't feel that same heaviness or the same weight that I did, when I was living in other places.
Yeah. It's funny because if I do a business trip to Oahu, just say for a day or two, you want to come back, and the flight back is amazing, even though it's like 30 minutes. But the fact about it is just getting out of the big city mentality of, traffic, go, hustle, all of that, and when I go travel on the road, it's like, I miss the mainland, some parts of it, but again, it's awesome to leave. It's great to go back and check it out, but I always like to leave and get back to Mecca because, again, it's a more relaxed environment, and it's good that, because you and I, we did our time in industry. And so now it's time to finish up and at least enjoy where you live so you can finish, and get really super focused on what you want to accomplish before the end. So,
yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, you've got an amazing career. You worked in technology, sales, and education, and now you're speaking to help students prepare for real world careers.
Yeah.
What led you to that and led you to write the book Careers by the People?
Again, thank you. That's the most imperative question, because the fact is, I was a first generation low income student, and I came from an area, working class, where most people focus on about a handful of opportunities, jobs, or whatever, careers. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do something else in the world. It was something like this that was aching to me to get out of that mindset. So thank God I got into a couple of good colleges. And from there, I didn't, but in school, I learned a great deal, but I didn't learn anything about career readiness and career preparation. So as soon as I got out of college, I'm like, okay, I got to go get a good job. And this is what I did to qualify, to check what I wanted to do. I asked my sister, I go, hey, where's a good place to work in Boston? She goes, Fidelity. I'm like, okay. So I've hyper-focused, got a job at Fidelity, and it was a great place to work, but I was bored and I had no excitement. And so from there, I met somebody there at the company, and their friend worked in insurance sales because he made big money. And my thought process was, and it is for a lot of people, money equals happiness. And it's not true, but the fact is, so I tried to go to sell insurance, and that was god awfully depressing. But I worked with a lot of nice people. And from there, I was just bouncing around. And then I said, you know what? I couldn't get a gig in Boston that I liked. So I said to hell with it and moved to Los Angeles, tried to sell movie scripts like most people and failed at that. Went back into tech and, and started getting involved with advanced selling. And you do well, but it's an industry that if you have no interest in, no joy in,
right,
other than a great paycheck, it's a real drag.
Right.
So during that time, I'm like, is everybody as miserable in their career occupation as I am? And so then I just started asking people, and then I'm like, you know what? I got to get this information out there, because a lot of my associates were, they're having kids, buying, 3 cars, 2 houses, living the life of Riley. And I'm like, you know what? I'd rather put my money into something a little better where I could help out. And so I got a website done, and I asked people throughout the states all these questions, 20 plus questions about their career, and I pulled off their last name so they could tell the truth and no blowback. And our responses were amazing. CEOs, actuaries, accountants, put it all together in the book. And then I informed what I should have done to prepare for the workforce. And boom, the endorsements occurred. The awards started flowing in. I mean, a review from Forbes was awesome. I mean, it's like when somebody from Forbes you connected with somebody from Forbes and they go, oh my God, they love the book. You're like, wow. So, I mean,
right.
That, and speaking of the schools to all these students, and it's amazing, because if I speak to a school in the top 50, those students are doing great. There's no question. They're prepped. They're really focused on their careers. As soon as I speak to a school, the U.S. News reports, and the school's ranked 255 or something, it's a mess. It's a complete colossal disaster. They're not getting any career prep. They're not public speaking like what you talk about. And then a lot of them aren't even on LinkedIn. One student asked me at a good college in the New England area, he goes, hey, Wysocki, after I spoke, he goes, educators tell us to network. What does it even mean? So all of this career readiness stuff is rarely spoken about in high school and in the colleges. And it just, there's a handful of us out there doing this work, but it's amazing how it's just getting ignored. I mean, we can get more into it, but I mean, let's it's a big issue.
Because it's concerning to me, because, like you said, the high profile schools, the elite schools are doing it. And like you said, those kids and those students are going to be fine. And let's make this real clear. We're not just talking about colleges here, right? We're talking about public education,
public education,
K-12 education, right? And so, because to me, this really should probably start, late middle school, maybe high school, talking about career preparation and some of those other things. Why do you think there's such a big gap that exists between the good and elite schools and everyone else?
It's funny. I had a conversation the other day, and okay, from the good schools, from the elites, okay, the elites are hyper focused on success, and they understand it, and they get the money too. The money goes to the elites. They're prepared. They understand it. They know how to use it. For the non-elite schools, what they do, and my theory is in my next book, because I prep all these, I talk to a lot of students in college preparing for the workforce. My thought process is this: student A goes into college, like a top, not a top 50, but like school number 250. I want to become a mechanical engineer. Great. The advisor goes, awesome. We have that degree. give me $100,000 and done. That's their focus. Get the student in, get the money, push them out the door. That is it. With career services and all like that, the amount of people that are out there in these schools, it's like per student, it's up to 450, 500, 1,000 students. And a lot of these people in the career fields over there in the colleges might be 2 years out of school. So how much do they know about the workforce? Or they're 50 years out of school and they're just burning out. And so that's an issue that I see consistently. And so these young people are not getting prepared. And again, education is always like, let's just give them a good education and the workforce can figure it out. The workforce then, industry is complaining that the students aren't prepared with the professional and soft skills that are needed from SHRM and all like that. And they say, and they complain about it, but nobody's doing a damn thing. People are writing about it, bitching about it, complaining about it, and nobody's resolving it. Okay, there are a handful of people out there resolving it, but those schools are rare. And for the students that are looking to go into higher education, they better go out and dig out which schools they are. My next book will give a suggestion of a handful of them. But again, also the students that are in high school that are preparing for the workforce, I mean, they may need a couple different, classes and courses about career readiness, professional skills, all of that. But no, the schools aren't teaching. I mean, very rare to find them. And every time I speak to the schools, high schools, I always narrow down the classes to a third. A third of the students are go-getters. They're the leaders. They're going to lead the country, period. They're fine. In any school out there, we're talking the worst and the best.
Right.
You get the middle third and the lower third. The lower third are lost. They're going to be ditch diggers. There's nothing I can do. That's an issue to somebody else to resolve. The middle third is my go-to. They can go either way. They can go down the tubes, or they can go to focus and go out there and try to get opportunity. And those are the ones I try to focus on, because I was in that group, because first gen low income, and I didn't care. I'm like, okay, I just hang out, and I don't know what I'll end up doing after high school. And so those are the guys I really focused on, because the top third will always come to me at the end of class, ask questions, be really enthused, blah, blah, blah. The middle sometimes, and you can dig them out. It's amazing. These people have great knowledge and great, focus, but yet they're in scenarios that are tough. One example was when I spoke at a school in the Massachusetts area. The students were bussed in from another area, which it was Brockton, actually, a tough neighborhood. And one of the students I spoke to from the neighborhood, I mean, this young man was amazing. I was blown away. He was asking me all these questions that were really intense. And I'm like, wow. And then the teachers afterwards going, we loved your interaction with the young man. And I was like, well, he's a smart guy. He goes, hey, you don't get it. His brother's a gangster. He's not getting in trouble. His brother they look the same. So, his life is terrible. And I go, God, he's so intelligent. And they go, yeah. So it's just, I mean,
it's crazy, right?
I've seen a lot, and I try my best to figure out how I can help out the next generation. And the roadblocks are intense. Obstacles are amazing. Education avoids me like the plague, but I'm going to keep fighting. I don't care. Who's going to stop me?
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I was also first generation college student, middle income, middle class family, and the institutions that I primarily taught at are the same way. The primary students are first generation college students that come either from middle to lower class households, and there's some of those students that, let's just put it this way, right now those students are probably the smartest I've ever dealt with, and they're the most entrepreneurial I've ever dealt with. And I've said this over and over and over again, but those soft skills are just they're at the opposite end of the spectrum, probably the worst we've ever seen. And it doesn't really matter what they know if they can't communicate, if they can't write a letter, if they can't do a cover letter, if they can't do a resume, if they can't write a report. They're not going to make it.
Here's the thing about it is, there's you, myself, and like I said, a handful of people out there screaming at the top of our lungs about these issues. And again, industry is out there screaming too, but industry is not doing anything. And a lot of these foundations out there are screaming too, but they're not doing much. And so the fact about it is we got to keep pushing on it. But the word is getting out. If you can see on social media and all like that, you see a lot of people talking, soft skills, and then they fight about, can we change the name to professional skills or power skills? I got at a response last week. I'm like, I don't care. Call whatever you want. Just teach the damn things in school.
Right.
And so when I go and speak to the students, how I focus is I tell them, I give them all these suggestions about how to figure out what to do with themselves, things that they don't even talk about in school. I mean, going to trade shows and industry, all things that they have no idea because they're in education. They don't deal with it. Right. But I go, when it comes to the professional skills, soft skills, or as my buddy in Northeastern says, power skills, I sit there and I explain to them how to resolve each one. And you mentioned the big one. So the first one I always say is what you do, the communication. I go, professional speaking. I go, you have to be able to publicly speak. If you don't, it will affect your confidence and your net worth. I don't care how afraid you are of it. Either take a class, take an acting class, go to Toastmasters. I go, you have to sit there and do it, whatever it takes. And I saw that you had a great interview with somebody with comedy. What's it called? The stand-up comic. That's the ultimate.
Yeah.
Go up and try to go to the worst comedy club in a safe area and just try to get up there. But the fact is, you have to get up in front of people and speak. And the thing about it is, it's addicting. Once you do it and you're comfortable with it, you'll do it all the time. I mean, you and I, you go, hey, speak in front of 5 people. No, done. Speak in front of 5,000. Done. You don't care because we've done it. But it's a sad fear that people, I remember in high school, people I'm not going to do up public speaking. It's like, just do it, man. It's just like, you're not like in a political realm where people are going to jump on the stage and fight you or something like that. You're talking about, serious subjects. So people are more interested or they nod off. So, I mean, it's the thing you got to do. And then after that, the rest of it's the writing and teamwork and, leading, without authority and all like that. So,
even with teamwork, if you can't communicate with somebody, there's no way you can have teamwork. Right. I mean, that's really where it all starts. And so how do we, both the business side, they've got their own agenda, right? And I get it. And the education side has their own agenda, and I get that. Yeah. And now we're here in the middle where the two of them really should be working together. And I did this a lot. And, there are some institutions and some majors and some careers that do this really well. But for the most part, they don't. How can we bring them together to say, okay, these are the skills that we really need them to have? And I'm talking about from a bigger picture perspective, right? All the way from K-12 education through higher ed, because we can't continue to be doing a disservice to our students, to our kids, to our future by, like you said, just complaining about it and not doing anything about it. And that's on all sides.
Yeah, I mean, how can you resolve it? That would be a massive, but so what I was trying to do was, and I'm trying to do different angles now, but I'm always reach out to industry because when you deal with education, you talk to them and you're like, hey, I'm a paid for speaker because, I have to pay for planes, hotel rooms, and I have to eat and pay bills too. And so they're always like, we have no money. And I'm like, all right, you have no money. And so I go to industry. And I'm like, industry, I know you recruit at the high schools and the college, work with me to help me, educate them. And you get no responses from anybody to do that. And so I'm like, so I'm looking at other alternative ways on trying to figure this out where I can help bridge the gap. Whereas the rest of the country, I don't know. A lot of people are talking a big game and all like that, but I haven't seen really many people deliver, but I'm not really doing all the reading and in investigation about other states or whatever, what they're doing. I mean, I quickly do because I've got so much to resolve myself on getting into the schools and speaking about it. But you always get a little plug here and there that, like Florida school district is doing amazing, but they might be doing amazing on tests though. But what are they doing? Are they doing amazing on career readiness? But in my next book, what I did do is here's what I kind of did. You might get a kick out of. And so when I was trying to explain to students, because I asked them 30 plus questions about career readiness and career prep. And so my angle was to a lot of the students it's like, there are schools that are out there that are career ready. And I went out and found some organization that did a career ready study and they listed 10 colleges. And I said, you know what, instead of always getting to the college that you just, you want to go to that wins championships, why don't you look at a college that's career ready? And then I also show what championships they won. You know what I mean? So like, I think it was University of Maryland was one of them. And I go, look at that. They won the lacrosse championship, or Temple won like a basketball championship. And so I look at these certain schools and I'm like, okay, not only are they great for career readiness, they've also done well in sports. So there's your sports kick there. So I tried to analyze and put them both together. And but I also tell them too, I go, if you love school X, Y, or Z, you can get a good scenario and set up. You can always hire a career coach too. I go, so that is another alternative as well. So I try to give as many thoughts and angles and ideas of how to do it and what to do to try to prep themselves. And I constantly, what I speak about to the students, I really analyze that with the questions, like example, like shadowing.
Right.
I ask the students, I go, what career you want to do in your head, and have you shadowed that? And in my next book, I find out that that's only 33% of the students that shadow. And the saddest of the sad is when I go to speak to the students at schools and colleges, I asked them who shadowed. Then I said, wait a sec, who knows what shadowing means? And so I explained that. And I explained to them about professional associations, which they're not going to know anything about because they're not in the world that you and I are. But it gives them at least connections or thought processes. I go, if you're thinking about going into an industry like healthcare, go to a trade show. You can network with hundreds of people right there. And they're either in marketing and sales and engineering and operations. I go, the opportunities are out there. But again, you and I, because of our backgrounds, can explain to the students, but again, the schools are like, well, we want the winningest football team, so we're going to spend $50 billion on a new stadium versus, hey, drop a couple $1,000 here and there on speakers.
Right.
And one school I was looking at in Massachusetts, it's like, it was embarrassing. I was trying to reach out to the director of the career services, and I looked at what's on the docket, and for a whole semester, they had 1 2-hour career fair. No speakers, nothing about career readiness. They might have had a Halloween, fun activity, but it was just nonsense. I'm like, these students and then the students were paying $5,000 a semester, and really nothing. They had no career exploration classes. It's like, for the love of Jesus, why are you going to that school? So
and that's one of the things that when I'm talking to parents and students, as they're going through that search process, is maybe look a little bit closer at what the individual major is doing or what the individual school inside the institution is doing. Because, like you said, the schools have they may have a department of it, but like you said, it could be one person to 450. But if you look at the major, if you look at the individual school, and they're really focused on that major or the majors that are in that school to help them get the skills they need for that individual career, right? And within that, at least from my experience and where I've worked, is we always pushed, practical education. We also always pushed, the soft skills, the communication, the writing, the teamwork, the things we've been talking about. And when our students would go out and they would get internships and they would look at their peers, they're saying, look, these kids aren't even close to what we are. And I said, yeah, because these are the things that we focus on: the practical education, doing things, job shadowing. I don't think I ever had a class where an assignment was not to go out and interview an industry professional, because it's not only does it give you some insight into the industry, it gives you insight into an individual, it gives you a chance to network, it gives you a chance to actually speak and communicate on a different level than you've ever done. And you have to come back and present that information. So you're building on a number of different skills all in one assignment.
Yeah. And that's awesome. I always inform the students, I go, whatever your thought process is of what you want to do, I want you to minimally speak to 5 people in that industry and 2 that have left that industry. Why they leave an occupation or a career that you seem to love. You need to know both sides of the coin. And I go, the best thing about it is when you have the students going, you know what? I went in there, I did the shadowing, and I didn't like it. I go, perfect. That saves you some time. The other one too is I always tell them internships, because students are trying to kill for these internships. And I go, You know what they were called before internships? Summer jobs.
Summer jobs.
I go, you're going to be interviewing with a guy, might be 60. And you go, he goes, you have no internships on your resume. And you go, yeah, I got a job. And I go, you're going to set yourself apart because you're different. I go, how about part-time work? How about temp work? I don't care. Just get in the door. If you want to be an accountant, actuary, I don't care how you get in the door, get in the door. If you can't, if there's nothing out there, I go, you know what? Ask him, say, you know what? From 3:00 till 5:00 on Fridays, is it okay if I'm a gopher or I volunteer, I work for free? I want to know what it's like to be in this industry. And that's what I tell them. I go, there's nobody out there being that aggressive. The other thing too is I go, here's why associations are gold mines, because the people that are in associations, one, enjoy their career, and two, they're usually the best at it or really good at that. And so if you join and start talking with them and eventually, get in that world, I go, they're going to love you. You're going to be the only 20-year-old in there. It's going to be a bunch of 50-year-old people. And you know what the 50-year-old people want to be? 20 years old.
20 years old.
So they'll want to talk to you and try to pass on their education because they love their industry. I go, so that's an angle to talk to people.
Yeah.
And I go, that's called networking as well. And when it comes to opportunity and you say, hey, I'm looking for a job, I'm looking to start this industry, they'll be like, oh, I can help you out. Can you move to Cleveland? And I'm like, you know what? If you get an opportunity for an industry that you like or a career, if you have to move to Cleveland or Des Moines or wherever, go for it. Or quite the opposite. If you're from Des Moines, you got to move to New York City, you do it, or Philly or whatever. I go, you got to go out there and get the experience. I go, because experience equals cash, but also equals opportunity, blah, blah, blah. And so you can grow your career. And that's it. Other than that, though, just applying online, you get a 30% chance. And I go about networking is Perez and Bollinger. I go read the 20-minute networking book.
Yeah.
Which is killer because it gives you clear and concise information of meeting somebody and how to network with them appropriately, and then do the follow-up, which everybody's failing on. So
yes,
so there's so many, angles. I mean, I just read a book this weekend somebody sent me was Kickstart Your Teen's Career Exploration. And it was great. It was an easy, fun to read. And I sent it back to Amy and I go, from Amy Zandanowski. And I go, Amy, this is so easy to read. She goes, yeah, it's for parents with teenagers who don't know what to do. And I go, that's a lot of them, but some of them think their teens already know so much. So it's going to be like, so it was always interesting stuff, but it's always a joy to go out there. But all of them say the same thing. Talk to people in industry. I try to tell students, I go, one-on-one. I don't want a Zoom. I don't want texting. I want you to meet with the person wherever they are, be nice to them, and bring them a coffee or whatever, water. I mean, whatever it takes. Just go out there and meet with people at industries that interest you. That is step one from everybody who's written any books about career readiness. Yep. I mean, Dickie Bowles, you name them. I mean, all those guys did it. So the parachute guys, Design Your Life guys, blah, 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 Gorkning, et cetera,
And just to follow up on a couple of things that you said, especially if you're younger and you get an opportunity someplace that's not at home, I mean, what responsibilities do you have? Go learn, go try and live on your own. Go try and figure things out in a completely different place. And if you don't like it when you're young and you don't have any responsibilities, you're not losing anything. You're gaining things. You could always come back. Right.
It's I speak about that big time in book 1, book 2. I always go back to an article written by Bob Reich, who was a former labor secretary under Clinton, and he wrote a gopher job. He goes, go get work. And he said exactly what you said. And this is how he phrased it was, he's like, you know what? Before you decide on going to graduate school, go out and work in that industry. And he goes, get a gopher job, get the lowest job. And he goes, I don't care what city, where it is. Because he said that, he goes, secondary city is the best because the jobs aren't going to pay well, period. So if you're in a secondary city, you can go out there and get great experience and then make a determination. Do you go to graduate school, stay in career? What do you do? But you get great experience. But here's the other thing too is if you do go to an alternative city, it's better because you know what? You don't know anybody. You can stay focused. You can do everything that you can focus on in your career. You can get into volunteering. You can do activity. I read about that in the students. I go, stay fit, do good things, go out there, get the word known, who you are, learn as much about it, and sit there and focus as much as you can on said industry so you can learn as much as you possibly can in the time. Think of it as basically your master's degree in education of doing it actually. So, it's easy for us to say because it's common sense, but some of the students out there, I get calls and connections. They go, "What do you think?" And I go, "Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
What do you get to lose?" And you're right. You can always go back because wherever you're from doesn't really change that much.
Right.
When I go back to where I grew up in Weymouth, Mass, I hear the same stories from 40 years ago, like it was yesterday. And I'm like, oh boy, so
exactly.
Focus on, you've done the same thing.
Yeah.
Focus on what you enjoy and how you can be successful in it. Those are you and I preach, that's all I preach,
And here's a couple more tips for anybody. When you get hired for a job, there's certain things that you should do. You should always be the first one there. You should always be the first one to leave. The last one to leave. First one there, last one to leave. And you should once a week do something that's not in your job description. Help somebody else. Hey, what do you need help on? Right? And maybe schedule some time with your boss. Hey, boss, thanks so much. I appreciate the opportunity. If you need anything, please let me know. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to learn. So if you need something that's out of the ordinary, I'm your man. Call me. Let me know, and I'll help you. Those things are gold.
In that situation, I agree 100%, but it's actually, I get an easy response on that one. My good buddy Gorik Ning wrote the book Unspoken Rules, and that's exactly what I tell the students. I go, when you prep for a career and you're ready to go into corporate America or the workforce, day 2 of graduating out of college, I go, I expect you, and I urge you, read the book called Unspoken Rules. Gorik, working workforce, he's got his MBA from Harvard guy, and all like that, but very cool. And he gives you clear and concise situations of what to do in those. And exactly like you said, prepare, get to know everybody in the team, eye contact, focus with them, learn about them. And I always tell them, the students, I go, when it comes to teamwork, I go, be open-minded. I go, everybody says they're open-minded, but be open-minded. If somebody has a different opinion than you, why do they have that? And learn that person. If you're from big city, they might be from rural. If you're from the South, they might be from the Northeast or the West, or they're from Europe or something like that. You got a PhD, they got a GED, but they're in the same scenario as you. Learn from them. And the thing about it is, you might be not best friends with this person, but in a couple of years, when you're in a situation, you're not sure what the answer could be and why, you can reach out to that person. Hey, Bob. Hey, Susie. I'm in this new gig, and I'm having some confusion about the situation I'm in. You got a few minutes to speak? They're like, not now, but call me at 4 p.m. I'll give you an hour. And that's a huge thing. And that's why I sit there and I go, all my focus is to try to get you in industries that interest you, that you can do well at. I go, then I throw it over to Gorik. And then there's a lot of people way before me that focus on the real basic information about determining, occupations and career and stuff like that. I just want to get the students thinking about occupations and how to go out there and network and get into them as deep as possible. So that's the good thing about it is I do my best to read as many books as possible on these subjects so I can throw them out left and right at people. And I put them up on my YouTube channel and say, hey, here's a book I read, good information. I suggest you knock it out. So the information is out there. And if the students want to prep, great. If they want to listen to their 22-year-old friend who has a nice haircut, they're not going to know a damn thing about the real world. But you can't tell a 20-year-old that, right? So
that's what I would tell my students all the time is, if you've got a question, whatever your classmate's telling you is probably wrong. So if you want your question answered, come talk to me or come talk to somebody in the industry, because your classmate, they're not going to be the one that helps you graduate. They're not going to be the one that helps you, truly get a job. They're not going to be the one that's guiding you, unless they're in a completely special class, right? So you've got to go talk to the people who've done it before, who have a vested interest in your success.
100%. I always tell students, I go, it's great if you talk to people who are 25, that's nice, but talk to 35, 45, 55. Mm-hmm. I want you to have people that you can connect with.
Right.
And I go, they don't have to be mentors. I go, just pull that word out. Just use trusted advisor, somebody you can connect with here and there that has a knowledge of the industry who's been in there 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So you can throw ideas out at them, see what the responses are, and you can call them here and there when you run into a wall. If you keep talking to 20-year-olds or, younger people, they're not going to have the vast experience in the industry. I mean, when it comes to tech weenie stuff, sure, maybe some kid who's 25 might know everything about AI or whatever the hot new term is. But when it comes to professional skills, all of that, speak to the elders, because you know what? That stuff's been around for a million years. So it's best to speak to people who've actually lived through it and lived through ups and downs of economies, lived at different locations, gone through the real world. And because it doesn't really change that much over the years.
So when it comes to career readiness, okay, and the next generation, what's the one thing that gives you hope, and what's one thing that keeps you up at night?
Well, the career readiness, obviously, it keeps me going, and it just. I know that it's needed out there. What keeps me up at night is the divide between education and industry, as well as the education and industry's lack of focusing on the first-gen low income in these secondary schools and all like that. I see a lot of students being left behind or ignored because of they're just pushing education versus career education. I mean, I love CTE, career and technical education organizations, because they're doing a great service to the state. So there are some pluses out there, but I do see this divide, and I do see it's just sad to see people getting left behind because of their scenarios. I wish there was more people pushing, career opportunities and understanding. And the students even ask me, they go, "Wysocki, were you a good student?" I go, "No, average." I go, "Average in college too." I go, "I was an average technology sales guy too." And that's it. So that's where you got to find your passion or something that interests you, where you can do well at. Where I see doing good though, no. I see a lot of it. Again, we spoke about it originally was the third. And so the third of students I talk to, I mean, they're beyond awesome. They're extremely bright. They're extremely interested. Yeah. They want to get things going. And I'm sure that was like it when you and I were younger too. Yeah. But I think the possibilities are out there. And the other thing too is I see a lot of people, I see career readiness is the new buzzword, which is cool. And I see a lot of people out there writing some really great stuff. And I've read some books that blow me away. Hacking College by Carlson and Laugh was amazing. And I try to get as much info as possible when I do their readings and all like that. And I see these people in the CTE programs that are doing really great work and helping students like navigate through that. So there are a lot of good things happening. So don't get me wrong. Everything's not negative, but there's a lot of people getting left behind. And, so, I mean, I wish the school systems, I wish, the educational hierarchy and all like that would really get involved with the career readiness push. Yeah. And I wish to get more people from industry, older people from industry, into the career education piece in K-12 or higher education. Yes. Because as we age, we do have a lot of experience. So bring us in maybe for a day here and there, or involve with contract work or whatever, but bring people from the real world in. And especially the retired ones, because once you're retired from a field, you can tell the truth. If they bring in the local vice president of the bank out of Spokane, guy's going to be like, "Oh yeah, I love my job. My manager and I hug every morning." He's making $250. He's living the life like a king in Spokane. He's not going to lose his gig. No way. Right. He's going to sit there and just smile and go, "Oh yeah, being the vice president of the local bank is the greatest gig ever. We love it. And by the way, you better set up a savings account with us." But retired people could say, "You know what? I enjoyed it, and here are the reasons why. Here's what I speak about that, the pros and cons of my career." And I go, "You know what? I traveled. They paid me well. I had an expense account. You guys know what expense account is? It's awesome. Do you know what monotony is? It's called everyday in tech sales. It was monotonous. It's very boring. And go chasing a number is torture. But again, I didn't prepare. And so that's the life I led and I got into, and it was money driven only. I wish I nothing wrong with selling, but if it was something that I enjoyed, maybe things would have been different. I don't know. But then again, on the flip side, maybe I wouldn't be writing books and doing what I'm doing. So I don't know there, Tim. You have to figure that out. It's more psychology for you than you need, I'm sure.
But it led you to this, right? Whatever it was, because you do have that passion for it. And, I think, at least for me, and I'll just put it from that perspective. When I would talk to people, I would tell them the good and the bad. I love what I did, but this is what I don't like. And there's every career, every profession, you've got your good, the stuff that you like doing, stuff that you don't like doing. And it can be different for everybody. And as long as you have a passion for it, for whatever it is that you want to do. And I would tell my students, I don't care what career industry you get into. And I come from the sport industry. I said, I don't care. I just want you to go out and be successful in that industry. I want you to be happy. I want you to be successful. I want you to be a good contributing member of society, whatever that is for you. And you have to make some of those decisions. And if you find your passion at 30, great. If you find it at 20, great. And I can tell you this, if your passion at 30 is the same as your passion at 20, you're probably not doing it right. If your passion at 40 is the same as it was when you're 20, you're probably not doing it right. Because as you get older, you start to learn more, and you should start to have, a broader worldview, a look at, let me give this a try. I really did well over here, but I want to be able to help over here. And so those things should change, and you should know yourself well enough at that point in your life, by the time you're 30, by the time you're 40, to be able to notice that and be able to make some of those life-changing decisions.
Yeah. I mean, and it was funny when I talked to a student one time at one of the schools in New England, and I'm like, right before the class starts up. So I got a few minutes, and I always babble to the students in the front row. I'm like, hey man, what grade are you? What year are you? Senior. Awesome. I go, what are you studying? Accounting. And I'm like, oh, you know what I read today on the train in was that we're low on CPAs. He goes, I'm not going to accounting. Accounting sucks. And I'm like, whoa. So he just dropped $160,000 to figure that it's out. But again, your thought process is what I try to explain to students. I go,
right.
You start off as an accountant. You may be the best accountant in Skokie, Illinois.
Right.
And then by the time you're 30, you might be a CPA level, and you might be the best CPA in Omaha, Nebraska. But as you move forward, you hit 40, you might be a CFO of a technology company in Sunnyvale, California. I go, so that's the trajectory. And by the time you're 50, you might be the CEO, or by then you might be open your own firm or expanding. I go, so it's not, and that's the other thing too, even in the trades, try to explain to people, like, you could be the most awesome carpenter at 20, 22, 25, but you're not going to stay as a carpenter. You're going to expand. You might open your own practice, or you might be out there being, a builder or a designer. I go, there's building complexes. Everybody starts somewhere, but they don't end up where they start. I mean, your first job, it's not like you're there for, I'm not the quality control analyst of Fidelity that I was 40 years ago. I mean, come on. Right. And so people do bounce, but if you can get a good foundation and find that industry you enjoy, I was telling them, you can bounce. You start off inside sales, but you know what? You don't have to go to the sales vice president. You might transfer to marketing or operations. I'll give you an example. I used to work with this guy. He was a sales manager. It was awful. One of the worst salesmen you ever had. But when it came to operations and to learn the back end stuff, he was Elvis. And I kept on, I'm like, whoa, you're just going to say, why don't you just run operations? And in his head, he was a sales guy, but in all the sales guys' heads, he wasn't. And so, you know what I mean? People pick and choose. I mean, probably for, ego, everybody wants to be the top guy, sales guy or whatever. I don't know why, but I mean, if you can be great at something, we all are, go out and do it.
And go and find it. Right.
Yeah. And being very successful in wherever you're located is a real joy. Being the king of the hill of your industry in your area, that's respectable in my view. I mean, maybe students are like, you know what? I just truly don't care. And that was me. I didn't care. I'm like, I'll just get a job and I'll figure it out. and that's going to just take you years.
Yes.
And so it's best to earlier the better. I was telling my brain doesn't fully form until 25 plus. You get a lot of time to test the waters. Okay. That means go out and get a gig. And I tell them an example that I did. When I was going to physical therapy, there was a guy that checked us in the front, hey, who, check you in,
Right.
go to Lisa, blah, blah. And I asked Lisa, I go, wow, that guy at the check-in counter, I go, he's really organized. And she goes, this is what he did. And this is in my book too. This young man got out of college and he's like, you know what? I'm not sure what industry I want to get into, but he narrowed it down to 3. And he worked 4 months in each industry to figure out which one was his focus point. So at that time, I was in the healthcare side because I was going healthcare. So that was one of his interests, healthcare. So again, I tell the students that story too. I go, you know what? Maybe it's 4 months, maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's a year, but at least you shut it. And the other thing too is on interviewing down the road, you tell that to the interview person. So, you know what? I was thinking of healthcare and I tried it out. It wasn't my bag. Then I wanted to try, what you call it there, manufacturing.
Whatever. Right.
And I liked manufacturing, and that's why I'm in manufacturing, and that's why I'm interviewing with you today for that inside sales gig. And they'll be like, "Wow, this person has a thought process." They
right.
So I mean, just weird little stories like that can almost help out. But you're right; you have to go out and test the waters, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then be able to tell the story too. This is what I learned. This is what I did. This is what I learned. This is what I really, got out of it. And this is how it's going to be how it's going to help me in this position or in this industry or whatever it is. Right.
Yeah.
So,
well, the other thing
when's your new book coming out?
Like too, so they can say, you know what, I like this part about it. And I know this can transfer. Okay. I didn't want to interrupt. What was the question?
When's your new book coming out?
Oh, great question. I don't know exactly, but here it is right now. It's with the publisher, and all the data, all the information is set. So what happens now is, and congratulations on your book, by the way. I just noticed that.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So as you know, they're going to give it a read through and edit it. I mean, I've already had a couple editors look at outside of my publisher, and so they're going to test it up. I'm hoping early spring or whatever. So that, and then I'm going through the covers and the subtitles is something that myself and the editor was screwing around with the other day. So, so I'm hoping that, and we'll see, but I'm telling you one thing, it's going to upset the apple cart. I'll either be loved or hated. So, but again, I go after everybody. I go after everybody in a good and bad way.
Here's the thing, the way to look at it. If the people that are upset about it are the decision makers, it's a good thing they're upset about it. Now, maybe something will change, and the people that like it are the ones that it's really meant for. Then you know that you've nailed it, right? So it's okay that you may have some of those people, and that's I looked at it the same way. For those that aren't watching this, I was called to the principal's office on a regular basis. Called to the dean's office because of the way I did things. I said, that's just the way that it is. I'm trying to help these students. You may not like the way that I'm doing it, but my students are going to be prepared. They're going to be, going to have some of the skills that they need. And, it's not that I intentionally want you to be upset with me. It's not that I'm intentionally doing these things to have you upset, but the ultimate result is that my responsibility is to my students.
Yeah. And that's how I look at it. I look at the responsibility is preparing the students for career readiness. And I do take a lot of swings at the foundations out there that are educational foundations, because a lot of them go out there and they ask the same basic questions every year. What's your ethnic background? What's sexy, blah, blah, blah. All the things, like, who cares? It's ready.
What's that? What does that matter? Seriously.
Yeah.
What?
Well, and here's the thing about it is, though, when I look for statistics about how many students are out there shadowing, there's no statistic. So these people with these multi-million-dollar foundations that focus on education, they haven't asked that question. And I'm like, really? Is it me? Am I the only person that's done it? How many books? Okay, Tim, you want to go into XYZ. How many books have you read in that industry? That's a question that's never been asked before. And so I looked at a lot of them. I'm like, really? Trade shows and so it's a lot of stuff that I asked that I was befuddled about it. I go, isn't but then again, it comes back to education. Think the job is to educate, not to get people careers. And I'm like, well, it would be nice if you could help. And they go, well, we have a career center and only 24% of students attend them. And then another statistics, like 75% attend. So which one do you believe? And it's just, so you know what I mean? So it really is a great book for students and parents, educators as well, of course, but for students and parents, so the students and the parents could read the questions and see about what information I dug up. So when their student is in high school or college, how they can prepare for the workforce. And it's going to ask some deep stuff. Again, when we talk about, have you spoken to people in industry, people that have left industry? It just goes bang, 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 30 plus questions. And thank the Lord, I got enough students to go out there and answer these questions throughout the United States at all these different colleges. And I went after, just like Scott Carlson did and Ned Laff did in Hacking College. I didn't go after the top 50. I went after, good schools, but not any. I don't think there was one in the top 50. I think UMass probably the best, like 65 or something like that. But anyway, yeah.
Oh, it's going on all over the country. So maybe when the book comes out, we can get you back on.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I'm always game to talk about myself. I know it's horrible. I feel bad sometimes.
Mike, it's no different than anybody else,
hear
right?
What other people are doing, but it's just like, when you do things, they always want to hear about what you're doing. I mean, which is great and all, but if I can help the students, and it's not about me, it's bigger than me. It's about helping the students prepare for the workforce. And there's a major issue, and I constantly, I'm a broken record, but until it gets fixed, I mean, it's a sucking time for anybody in school right now, because they're not getting prepared and industry just bashing them. And so what's going on? And then people are giving them fear mongering with AI. And they did that 20 years ago in nanotechnology, but nobody talks about that. You know what I mean? So, and then they did it with us with the internet. The internet's going to change the world. Yeah, I got more jobs, but and then they're like, oh, the economy. I'm like, oh, the economy. Some student wrote the other day, the economy is worse than it's ever been. And I go, okay, I've been around for 40 plus years. We've all gone through ups and downs and ups and downs. I'm like, give it a break, give it a rest. I go, you know what I mean? So it's like, everybody's like a victim of bitching and moaning about something, but just go out there and focus. And I do my best to give the tools. And you're doing amazing. I mean, just public speaking. It's like, for the love of Jesus, dude, go out there and learn public speaking. That's going to set you apart. But anyway, soapbox.
No, I get it. We could go on for hours with this stuff, but
exactly.
Where's the best place for people to connect with you?
Oh, very kind. The easiest one I always say is my website, like the name of my book, careersbythepeople.com. You could also do .org, .net. I own them all. So you can, whatever, Careers by the People. That's my website. That's great. I'm on LinkedIn, Mike Wysocki. There's only one Wysocki over here in Maui. So I'm easy to find that way. My YouTube channel, believe it or not, is named, you got it, Careers by the People. So I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. I do my best to reach out, to the schools and to try to say, like, if you're looking for a speaker, just work with me. It's just like, what can we do? I speak remotely, virtual, as I say. I can go on site. I go on site and I can speak multiple times a day, because in tech sales, we were trained, just go out there and get things done.
Right.
And so I offer these flexible packages, and I'm like, you know what? Let me go out and work with you guys. And so, I think the opportunities are there, and it's amazing when you call up a school and they're like, oh no, we have no money. And then you see who they hire as a speaker, and you're like, I know you dropped $50,000 on that guy and he gave you 1 hour. Congratulations. You got ripped off.
and a lot of times it's not helping the students. And a lot of times
a friend of a friend and stuff like that. Or, somebody's got a better haircut or something. Who knows? But anyway, thanks. Yeah.
Well, Mike, thanks so much for spending some time with us. I really do appreciate it. And, I enjoy talking with people in general, but I really enjoy it when, we're really kind of aligned on what we're working towards, and love the conversation. And like I said, hopefully we get you back on when your new book comes out.
Yeah. And when's yours hitting market there, young man?
Oh, November 13th.
whoa, it's like a week away. But then
Yeah.
when this airs, it's probably going to hit later than that. But
Yeah, but
anyway,
that's all right.
congratulations on
That's
that.
right.
It's
Thank you.
It's feather in the cap, and it's one of those things you can always it checks the life of boxes. It's like, well, everybody wants to publish a book, but only a small percentage of us ever do. So,
and it really hits at the heart of some of the things we've been talking about, the networking and how you go about it, and making sure that when you are networking that you are doing things that are going to help not just other people, but move you forward, because networking isn't just about taking from other people. You also have to provide that value, right? If you don't provide value, people aren't going to remember who you are. So there's a lot of that skill into it. It's not just going to a networking event and collecting business cards. There's so much more to it than that.
Without question, in follow-ups and connections and learning to deal with people, there's a lot. So yeah, all good stuff. Thank you very much for everything.
All right, bud. You take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
Much aloha. Thank you, Tim.
Be sure to visit speakingwithconfidencepodcast.com to get your free ebook, Top 21 Challenges for Public Speakers and How to Overcome Them. You can also register for the Forum for Public Speaking course. Always remember, your voice has the power to change the world. We'll talk to you next time. Take care.